I still don't know why, and I still can't figure it out. But Paul, people had better start saying their name out loud because Texas A&M is going to be a problem for the rest of the SEC, the rest of the way. They are in a really, really good spot, undefeated, ranked fourth, and clicking on all cylinders.
They are, and it starts with the head coach, Mike Elko. The day he was hired, you kind of felt a sea change in Aggie land, and they continue to negotiate difficult moments. But Matt, everybody's having a hard time on the road this year in the SEC. This is not coming from the conference public relations office. This is watching football as you do every Saturday, all day, every and Saturday night. They have a game this weekend that is incredibly intriguing, and I mean, somebody who has always enjoyed my Monday afternoon chats with Brian Kelly. We're getting into the twilight zone right now, coming up this Monday, and who knows how many more Mondays after that. But they're in such a great spot. They keep winning. Now their schedule, you look at their schedule, Matt, and go, okay, well, they've had some big wins, but Notre Dame right now stands out a great deal. But some of the SEC teams, they've been fairly fortunate with their early SEC schedule.
Yeah. And Mike Elko, you hit on it because they went a complete departure. Jimbo Fisher was the superstar coach. He was the headliner. And Mike Elko was the substantive coach at Duke. And I called a couple of Duke games. So I got to see him as a head coach when he was at Duke. He was, obviously the former Texas A&M defensive coordinator. You know the whole background of the story. But, yeah, they did Texas A&M after the Mark Stoops, what would have been they went and hired a name that, in this day and age, you want to win the press conference. And candidly, I don't know that Mike Elko won the press conference, but he was going to win the football games. And he's done that. And now Marcel Reed has developed. They have as good a skill position players of anybody in the country. The defense is going to work itself out. I know, look, Bobby Petrino's offenses and Taylor Green's going to be an NFL quarterback. That's a tough thing to negotiate in and of itself. But, man, A&M, because we're always talking about Alabama, we're talking about Georgia, watch out for Texas A&M because they have the like you said, they're going to be able to announce themselves sooner or later. Was what they did yesterday in a 2-hour weather delay against Arkansas. All right, let's start getting uncomfortable. That portion of the program. LSU at Vandy. Brian Kelly and the Tigers, they're out of the SEC race and they're out of the playoff race. And it's the temperature in Baton Rouge is probably going to start heating up a little bit.
It will. I heard it throughout the week. There's always been this difficult dance with Brian Kelly and LSU fans. But this past week, it seemed to get even more uncomfortable. And this is not losing to a Vanderbilt team in the past. This was a game that everybody expected Vanderbilt to compete. They were favored, all the things that really don't matter. But it's still hard to sell an LSU fan base on where they are right now. And the Clemson loss, Matt, tell me, we've said this a couple of times with various teams that, like the Alabama loss to FSU keeps getting worse, and the LSU win over Clemson keeps getting worse. So it just doesn't count. And the reason I say that is that LSU is on day one was a team that could have afforded 3 losses. They can't anymore.
Yeah.
So they have to thread a very thin needle. I'm sure Brian Kelly would not be happy that you ruled him out of the playoffs, but they're working pretty hard on knocking themselves out of the playoffs. If you don't think this weekend might do it, then consider that trip to Tuscaloosa in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, and look, you never know in this day and age of what's capable happening. But I mean, you'd think right now with 2 conference losses at this stage of the season, with what's going on, I mean, that climb, that's a tough hill to climb. And you're right. Look, fine, give them a chance to the end of the season because you got to play the games out and see what happens. But I'd say statistically, LSU's chances of getting in, I mean, they're not good. Joey always looks at me sideways. in the studio. I'm like, well, they're probably out of it. And it's like, man, you like eliminating people. I'm like, no, I like kind of looking at the landscape. And right now it doesn't look good for LSU. It has been. It's a weird marriage. I don't know. There's something. I'm just surprised based on, look, the offensive line lost a lot. So we knew the offensive line wasn't going to be great. And we see that with Garrett Nussmeier getting pummeled every week. But, man, the offense, I'm just surprised the offense. And give Vanderbilt credit. They're a great story. Vanderbilt is still in the SEC race and the playoff race. Who thought we'd say that? But it's just something hasn't clicked this year for LSU.
Well, it starts with Nussmeier, and they tried to paper it with he's okay, but he's been banged up all year, and it makes it difficult at times. I mean, he's capable of making grabs. He was a Heisman favorite in most people's mind with Klubnik, #1 pick, and he just has not performed. And even the defense sometimes, Matt, which has really been has carried them. There are moments when they were burned yesterday by Pavia, and that I didn't expect that either.
Yeah, and you hope Clark Lee and his alma mater is ready to stay and build that thing, because with all the jobs are going to be open. But with LSU losing yesterday, week 8, we had 2, 5, 7, 10. That's 4 top 10 upsets. Number 7, Texas Tech goes down to my alma mater, Arizona State. They've resuscitated their Big 12 championship hopes. That was a big upset in the desert. You had the LSU upset. Ole Miss, rankings-wise, an upset, but that was on the road at Georgia, and you know how Georgia plays. And then obviously the shocker on Friday night with Louisville, who's really good, goes in and beats Miami. And every time we want to trust Miami, something like that happens. They're like, well, who knows? And the ACC is flipped on its axis, because now are they a one-bid league because of what Miami did? I do want to get you out of here on this one. I teased it a minute ago. Mike Norvell, Florida State, 4 losses in a row, haven't won an ACC game since last September. They go and lose to Stanford. And in the middle of the night, I watched the end of the game because it was nuts, and I'm still at work and not done yet. But, I mean, where do you see that thing going?
Yeah, I wrestle with Mike Norvell because at the core, I still believe that he's capable of a lot, but you can't argue with those results. I think it's who would have thought after the Alabama after the Alabama win, that Mike Norvell might be on a hot seat than Billy Napier down the street. It's truly remarkable to think about what has happened to him and this program, and there was so much buy-in too, Matt.
Yeah,
I mean they turned it around, and he's ultimately responsible. So yeah, I would think he's on a very slippery slope this morning.
And here's what I absolutely hate for Mike Norvell, because I really like him. He was an OC at Arizona State, got to know him throughout the years. As the future unfolds, it appears to me the 13-0 season was the outlier.
Yeah.
Like that was and I don't like that because of what he was able to do.
You want this, you got that. No way.